Hello guys, I have a little video tutorial here on how to moonwalk, as well as some sticky walking, charlie walking, boost walking, whatever you want to call those things. Um, I'm sure there's plenty of other videos out there explaining this, but this is something that I've been asked quite a lot, so I figured instead of trying to explain it through text, it gets kind of complicated to sort of visualize when you're just trying to type it out. It's easier to explain it with a video as well as with some input display up here. So first of all, what is a moonwalk? Looks like this. Very fun, very swaggy, niche, useful. It's more useful on certain characters than on others, but like it's useful across the board. You know, every character can use it to grab ledge. It can be on stages with platforms. It can be a useful way to move across a platform and turn around. If I want to waveland but I want to face the other way as I go around, I can use moonwalk to do that, for instance. So just a useful technique across the board, not game changing, but useful. Every character can do it. It's more noticeable in certain characters. Falcon is probably the most famous example, along with like Link, Mewtwo, Yoshi, as well as Ganon has a pretty good moonwalk. And there's many different ways to set up a moonwalk. But before we get into the setups, the most important thing is just get the basic motion of a moonwalk down. And the principle behind the moonwalk is, if I want to moonwalk to the right, what happens is I do a dash. If I just want to do it from a standstill, by the way, Falcon is more or less the only character who can do this, just from a standstill. Falcon and like Link, maybe a few other characters, to actually get any noticeable. You see, it's not as big as when I do it, like the classic setup, because the way you set it up can give you more momentum. But if you just do it from a standstill, you can see there's a little bit. I dash left, but I move back to the right. And the reason he does that is because I dash left, but then I move my stick all the way to the right again, without going through the middle part of the stick. So if I would have done that normally, I would just do a dash dance, right? I would dash left, dash right. But because I dash left and then go to the right while going under the middle zone, I get the momentum to the right, but I don't actually turn around. And you can actually do this going up as well, although it's very hard to do that without tap jumping, right? So most people just, go down. And the motion is, as you can see, it's a half circle, right? If I want to moonwalk to the right, I dash left, and then I half circle down, and then to the right. And you don't have to do a full half circle. You can kind of cheat it as well. Really, you just want to go from left to right without going through the neutral zone where you turn around, right? So that's the motion. And the way you sort of practice this, before we get into the setups, before trying this with sort of other characters, one great way to practice this is, I would say, pick Falcon or Link and roll all the way to a ledge, and then try and doing the moonwalk. And you want to get it good enough to the point where you grab the ledge, or even better, if you can go all the way off stage with it. Let's see if I can get one. I haven't done it this way for a long time. If I can get over here. Like that, you see? Going all the way off stage, right? If you can get this consistently, that means you're getting the actual motion close to frame perfect, right? It doesn't have to be super frame perfect, especially when we do some of the other setups that get more momentum. But getting it close to this, or at least, you know, grabbing ledge, is essential, right? And that's gonna take some time to practice. It's not gonna come in a single session. It's one of those things where the motion, it is kind of ridiculously fast. Ideally, you want to go from this side all the way to that side in a single frame. And to develop that speed in your thumb and your wrist, it takes time, and it's not just about sitting here and grinding it until you get it, because when you first start out practicing this, you're gonna feel really stiff in your wrist. It takes time to sort of build like whatever the neural pathways and even just like the muscle in the hand and the thumb to sort of get it down. So I would suggest, you know, practice this. It's gonna feel really awkward at first, and after about like 10 minutes, you're probably gonna feel kind of tired in your hand. You know, once you reach the point where you're actually like, you're getting so tired in your hand that you're getting worse and worse at doing it, that's the time to stop and like don't practice this for like 2 or 3 days, you know, because it's gonna take time. It's like lifting weights, you know, it takes time for the muscle to recover and actually develop the strength. That happens outside the gym, and this is no different, you know. You're gonna practice this, and to the point where you get tired, then take some time off, come back to it in a few days. Maybe it doesn't have to be two, maybe it's like, you know, once a day, you know, 3 times a week, something like that. And just keep doing that until you can get this part down consistently, where you're at least grabbing ledge with Falcon or Link, you know? It might be even easier on Link, honestly. Once you've gotten that part down, because like when you're playing the game, you would never do it just like that. This is just practicing the motion itself. When it comes to actually using it, there's a couple different ways to set it up. Falcon is one of the only characters that can set it up in the way where he would first dash. Like if I want to moonwalk to the right, instead of just standing there and doing it like that, the classic you just went over, I would dash to the right first, and immediately after dashing to the right, I would then move stick to the left and then do the half circle, right? So we're doing a dash, and after the dash we're doing that thing, right? So it's dash right, move stick to the left, through neutral, so you're dashing and then you're turning around, and that's when you do the half circle. And it looks like this. And you can see there's more momentum when I do it that way, because the initial dash from Falcon, he has such a high dash speed, as well as like whatever other properties that enable him to get a huge momentum, right? And that can obviously be very useful for getting off stage, doing edge guards, right? And that's like every character can use that to get further off stage and do their edge guard or whatever, right? But that's like Falcon specific, and I think like Link and a few other characters can do it that way. Falcon also has a unique way to set it up, where again, if I want to do it to the right, let's move him out the way. He can actually dash forward, and at the end of his dash forward, he can do this. And that's just a dash forward, and at the end of the dash forward, the half circle from before, right? So it's dash left, half circle starting left and going back. So you're going left, left and back, if that makes sense. Left, left and back. And I don't know why this works, why he gets so much momentum going backwards considering he just moved forward, but it just works. And that's a kind of fun way to set it up. But if I move to a different character, let's try having these two characters. First of all, if I try and do this with Ganon, you see it's very hard to get. I think it is possible to grab ledge with him like that, but you really gotta be tight with it, right? If I try and do it the way I just did with Falcon, where I dash first and then moonwalk, he barely gets any distance. Actually, before I try with Ganon, let me go to how do I control the other characters? CPU mode, control. Alright. The way I would do it with Fox is, again, he can't really do it like Falcon either. But what he does is that, this is how most characters do it. If they start walking, I want to moonwalk to the right side again. I will start walking to the right, and while I'm in my more or less max walk speed, I would do the half circle going from left to right, right? And this is, I mean, you've seen every Fox player do this, right? Where they go and they grab ledge or whatever they're gonna do, right? Maybe even jump off and do like a shine or whatever. And this works with most characters. And it's prominent on Spaceys, it's prominent on Marth this way. And then, you know, a quick way to also set that up is, like, if you're already running, you can like do a wave dash and then keep holding forward and then move into the walk and then the moonwalk, right? If I go back to Ganon, you can see I do get some momentum by doing walk first, more than if I would try and do the Falcon method. Maybe it's more or less the same, but again, it's not that prominent. If I want to get a more or less max length moonwalk with Ganon, the way you do that is by doing a perfect waveland first, and it's gonna look like that. You see, huge moonwalk for Ganon. And again, it's because we get momentum from the waveland before the moonwalk. And if we go through all the individual steps, obviously it's a perfect waveland, so that's something you need to practice. It's quite easy with the double jump. Works on platforms too. And what happens is we do the perfect waveland, and see, we enter walk right after that. So it's a perfect waveland, walk, and then the moonwalk. And you want to time it so that you do your moonwalk as quickly after the waveland as possible. You don't want to spend much time in the walking animation. You don't even have to enter the walking animation, because you can do this backwards too. It's a bit more tight. So it's easier going forward because you have that little bit of a buffer time where it doesn't matter if you do it a bit late. If you are in walk for a little bit, it doesn't matter, you still get some momentum. If you want to do it backwards, you gotta be more tight with it. And you can do it from a wave dash too. It's harder to get good momentum from a wave dash because you want the wave dash to be as perfect as possible. The more perfect you get the angle of the wave dash, the more momentum you get for your moonwalk. And it's something I haven't practiced in a long time. I rarely use that setup for Ganon. I pretty much only do it out of wavelands. But like the Waveland, it's easier going forward because you can enter walk and then do it. If you do it backwards, it's harder. But as you can see, it's possible. And you can get quite a lot of distance with that too, especially if you get the actual half circle motion, you know, very quickly. You really have to be quick with the wave dash method. As you can see, I mean, I can get this. There you go, and you can get that even better. But with the Waveland, the actual speed of the half circle is not that important. You get so much momentum from the Waveland that you are gonna get a lot of distance. And a fun little fact here, or a fun thing you can do with it, if we go back to the platforms, like one of the most useful things with Ganon for this technique is to be able to like do that, right? Waveland and turn around and do an aerial or whatever. This is very related to a different technique called Moondrop, where, let's see if I can get it. Oh, I got it right there. What that is it's actually a PC drop. As you can see, that I'm facing out, but I turn around before sliding off. That was a moonwalk. That was a moonwalk as well. That was just a moondrop. And I'm doing the same input every single time. Because if you want to do a moondrop, it's something like it's more or less the same input. It's not really the same input because you can do the moondrop input but without using a moonwalk input. But the moonwalk input also works. A PC drop or a moondrop is just pressing left. If, you know, I'm moving right and then I just press left right before reaching the end, and that will give it. But with the moonwalk, if I'm too far from the ledge before I do my moonwalk, I get a moonwalk, turn around, grab ledge, and if I'm super close, oh shit. If I'm very close, I'll just get a moondrop or PC drop, like I got right there. So you can get like, if you're struggling with the moondrop or PC drop, using a moonwalk can help you get that. So yeah. What's next? If we want to talk about chaining moonwalks and sticky walks, and then we got charliewalks. So let's go back to Falcon.
Training mode. Captain Falcon.
If you want to chain your moonwalks, not something you can do that with every character as well. I don't use that as Ganon pretty much ever. As Falcon, it can be useful because you sort of build up momentum for each moonwalk, and then you can go a lot faster. So you can do like a bad moonwalk. As you see, the second one is better. I haven't practiced chaining moonwalks in a long time. There was a boost run in the middle of it. To chain them, it's very timing specific. You do the first moonwalk. At the end of that moonwalk, you just do it again, and then again, and again, and again. If you look up to the right, you know, in my input display, it's half circle, half circle, half circle, half circle. You know, it's all about the timing. You want to time the moonwalk input at the right point during your initial moonwalk to get a second and a third and fourth, etc. And if you don't time it, if you time it too soon, you're gonna get like you're gonna move forward again with each moonwalk, right? If you time it just at the end, you can get consecutive moonwalks off. And that's just timing for each character, practicing it. Works with Ganon too. Again, not something I do very often. But you sort of preserve momentum across each moonwalk. Moving into stickywalk.
Training mode. Ganondorf.
So the stickywalk looks like this. Looks like there it is. And to explain it, it's a bit tricky, but like if I do the moonwalk to the right like that, at the end of my moonwalk I'm holding the stick to the right at the end. Right before the moonwalk finishes, I sort of slide my stick down and then slightly forward, kind of like into a downward forward angle, a bit less than that. So you would slide it down slightly past full south, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, it is pretty much the forward tilt notch, right? And it's actually not that strict. You can do it at pretty much any point during your moonwalk. But if you really want to get a really pronounced effect, you would do it towards the end. And that can be quite useful sometimes. Like if I'm corner pressuring this Samus right here, can be a nice little trick every now and then. You can actually combine that with a boost grab, and you move forward and grab. Or you can also just press A and then you move forward to a dash attack towards the end. On certain characters, that boost grab is really pronounced. If you try and do that with Marth or Fox, they're gonna fly forwards with the grab. It's rarely seen, but it can be quite useful. So that's stickywalk. If you want to take it further into the charliewalk, well, before that you have the boost run, which there's kind of a different ways to set it up, but the way I would set it up, especially if I want to chain and do the charliewalk. First of all, what does the charliewalk look like? Let's see if we can do that on Ganon even. Yeah, there it was, more or less. Not very pronounced, but actually it's better if I do this on Fox, because Fox is pretty much the only character I learned to do this on. So stickywalk here. It's again more or less the same. I do my walk, moonwalk into a stickywalk. At the end of the stickywalk, so again, we're just moving to the right here with our moonwalks and stickywalks. So at the end of my moonwalk, my stick is to the right. When I do the stickywalk, I end up with my stick here, right, in the downwards forward tilt angle. And then to do the boost run, or the Charlie run, you just slide it back to the right again. So it's walking, moonwalking to the right, sliding the stick down to the sort of southwest gate here to do a sticky walk, and then at the end of the sticky walk we move back to the right, and it's gonna look like this. Not like that, it's gonna look like this. So that's when your character does that funky little turnaround. Animation thing. And that's the boost run or Charlie run, whatever you want to call it. And Falcon, he can get super much momentum from that. If I can actually pull it off. If you time it just right, it's gonna be like your character's maximum jump, drift, velocity, whatever. But yeah, I don't really use that. I can't really pull it off, but I can do the effect at least, right? So that's the boost run. Now the Charlie walk is chaining your boost run into a second moonwalk. So it's moonwalk, sticky walk, boost run, and you can actually moonwalk from the boost run. And it's gonna look something like this. If I can pull it off, okay. It's very timing specific, and I believe the timing is different for every character. That's why I have to mess around here. There it was. And you saw the second moonwalk had super crazy momentum because I built it up during the first initial moonwalk and boost run. And to really explain this, I'm gonna go back to Fox again. The actual input for this, there it was. So when I come out of my boost run, right around here, at that part of the boost run, just as it's finishing off before moving into the just normal running animation, I will then do a second moonwalk, half circle, starting from the left and moving to the right, just like the first one we practiced over here with Falcon, where we're just trying to, you know, go down to ledge, right? So, explaining sort of the stick directions, we're going forwards, moonwalking to the right, we are sliding the stick down to the opposite downwards horizontal angle to get sticky walk. We're sliding the stick back to the right to enter the boost run, and then at the end of the boost run the stick is held to the right and we just go left to right for the final moonwalk, and then you can repeat the process over and over again, right? Like so. And at this point we're getting into a sort of silly territory where you're not really gonna be there's little usefulness from this. It's kind of fun to mess around with, but it's overkill, right? And you can do that with every character. You can do it with Ganon too, but you're rarely gonna have time to do, you know, several of these, because, and again, it's not really that useful, because at the end of the day, the usefulness of the moonwalk is just sort of turning around or moving a bit further from your waveland to sort of get all the way to ledge, right? You can do that with a Koopa slide as well. But moonwalk is just more consistent, I feel like. So sticky walk can be quite useful because you can sort of wait a little bit. Like if you've done this a few times already, as you're edge guarding, your opponent's gonna expect you to grab ledge. Adding a sticky walk can sort of, you know, makes it look like you're gonna grab ledge, but you're staying on stage. So like, let's say you're edge guarding a Fox or a Falco, they might be inclined to side B on stage because they don't want to get ledge hogged, right? So it's like a way to make it less ambiguous what you're going for at the ledge. And that's pretty much it. So any questions, post them below. I'm sorry I'm not able to execute every single moonwalk technique, and there's even more ways to sort of set up. I've seen Westballs do some crazy shit, you know, once. I can't find that set anymore. It's a set where he fights Armada. I think in the DreamHack he's playing Falcon and he's doing the craziest sort of combination of boost runs, moonwalks, whatever. I don't know how the fuck he did that, but these are all the basics. Take your time with it. It's one of those things where it's gonna feel really hard to get down at first, but as you sort of build up that muscle memory in your thumb and your wrist, it's gonna come eventually, and once you have it, you kind of never really lose it. You know, I'm a little bit out of shape when it comes to moonwalking, especially some of those funkier setups, but like the very basic of it, that part's never disappearing from me, right? It's once you have it down, you've got it down. You know, you might lose a little bit of distance if you don't keep up the speed, but most of the time you don't really need max distance, right? You just need the effect. So there you go. Peace.